Kevin Hassett is here, the former Council of Economic Advisors, the chairman. Drift is the latest bestseller he's got there. I don't want to discuss, wind machines or leaf blowers, but this idea now that
I've seen it all there at the White House.
I bet you have, right? I remember several times talking to you and competing with that, but you kept your composure. Kevin, the one thing I do want to address that people have seen and heard these remarks again, so we have to replay them necessarily, but Jamie Dimon talking about the likelihood of a recession and furthermore, another 20% hit to stocks. Do you agree with what he sees?
Yeah, I think that, stocks have not hit bottom, sadly. I think that third quarter GDP is actually a little higher than I expected, but I think that people are going to look back and call this a recession year. And I think that there's more bad news to come, that the effect of the Fed's interest rate hikes hasn't really taken off to the extent that the Fed runs down its balance sheet. I did some econometrics on that last couple days ago, and that's worth about 10% off the S&P. And then if there's this railway strike, I think the railway strike is actually a much bigger news story, and God bless you for covering it right at the top of the hour, than markets expect right now. And the point is that if you look at the deal, if I were a union member, I would vote against it, because you're basically not really keeping up. Most of them are not keeping up with inflation if you make a reasonable inflation forecast. And so that's really like the problem with the economy right now, is that wages aren't keeping up with inflation. It costs $460 more per month to buy what you bought last year. You can't afford to do that. Your standard of living is going down. GDP is going down. And I don't think markets have fully digested that and the higher interest rates. I think Jamie's right.
And then to talk about this strike that goes on here, then you've got to worry about disruptions in the holiday and how that lifts prices anyway. So if you're sitting on the Federal Reserve and you're looking at, headwinds, this is one that you didn't really plan on. How do you think it all goes?
Right, and now I want to go back and basically magnify the point that you just made. That so if I were in the union, I would vote against the deal. Basically Joe Biden is telling his union supporters that they should take a real wage reduction. The point is that wherever there's collective bargaining anywhere in the U.S., workers are going to look at the inflation numbers. They're going to look at the wage increase that they've been offered, and they're going to say, geez, wait a minute, my real wage is going down. My standard of living is going down, which is pretty much what you're hearing from the workers that voted against this right now. And so I don't think we think it necessarily stops with the railway unions. I think over the next year there could be kind of a union revolt against the high prices and the slow wage increases, and that's the thing that I think is the real downside for the outlook right now.
Kevin, while I have you, we're getting some flashes on the wires concerning Cleveland Federal Reserve President Loretta Mester, I believe a voting member of the Federal Open Market Committee, saying, among other things, that the Fed has yet to make progress, ultimately lowering inflation. She goes on to say she does not expect the Fed to lower rates next year. Now, this echoes some noise we've heard out of other Fed governors that this trajectory in rates, forget about whether they keep going up through the new year, they're certainly not going to come down. And she expects right now that unemployment will be 4.5% by the end of next year. I think we're at around 3.5% right now. That would be a big bit backup in unemployment, and that might be generous. What do you think?
Right. I think that at the Jackson Hole conference where, I was out there, I remember talking to you while I was out there, the fact is that at the Jackson Hole conference, the message among central bankers from all around the world was that Arthur Burns in the 70s in the U.S. made a catastrophic error when he started to fight inflation, and then as soon as the unemployment rate went up, he eased off on rates. And I think the consensus is that the unemployment rate needs to go up between 1 and 2 full percentage points in order for the Fed to feel like it's reached the point where wage inflation and price inflation are going to go down towards their target. And so if the inflation rate were to stay steady, then of course they're going to keep raising rates. But even with inflation going down to 5 or 6% from the 8% we see now, I think a 1% higher unemployment rate would not induce the kind of rate reduction that you would see in normal times. In fact, I would think that you'd have to go up more than 2 before the Fed would consider a rate reduction next year.
Real quickly, this might seem outside of what we would normally talk about, but in Britain, they're given serious consideration to freezing utility rates and bills and all of that. And normally that would make a conservative wince or a free marketeer wince. But it's getting a lot more favorable press in the Financial Times, an editorial in the Wall Street Journal, for example. this notion that you know, it could do some good. I always go back to wage and price controls under Richard Nixon, or what that comes oftentimes back to bite you. Where are you on this?
Yeah, I agree with you, Neil, and it goes back to not to do. You've let me do Econ 101 on your show sometimes, so just try it. You know, if you try to impose
you're very good at
a
it.
price, but if you try to impose a price that's lower than the market clearing price, then you end up with shortages and long lines and so on. And so my expectation is that if they try to impose a price that's different than the market clearing price, then there are going to be brownouts for electricity and long lines at the gas station, and maybe even, you know, gas stations shut. I can remember, you know, back when I was going to college, I was driving to college from Massachusetts down to Philadelphia. Remember, it used to be you could only tank up your car every other day? And it depended on like the number on your license plate.
Right,
yeah, that's
right.
Yeah, that's right. And so the point is that's what price controls will give you. And you know, I'm surprised that normally sentient people like the Financial Times are supporting such a move.
Yeah, I was surprised as well. We'll watch it very closely, Kevin. So we're both around the same age, my friend, if we're remembering the same period. Always good seeing you. Thank you.
That's right.
Very, very much.
Good to see you too.